What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So today we're going to look at the 7.1 changes that are likely going to come soon and what effect they're going to have on the game, like who is getting buffs and nerfs, who Riot decide to bend over again, who comes out on top after it all. To make this easier for you guys to follow as well, timestamps are going to be below, and I've grouped the changes into roles this time, so you can check the specific role you actually play if you want to. Let me know in the comments which of these changes is your favorite though, but to start, let's get into the AD carry ones. Before we get into the PvE changes for Kalista, I've actually been stalking a few Rioters. I probably shouldn't say it like that, but they've said that long-term Kalista is actually still maybe going to get a rework. It's still on the table, it's still being looked at. So even with these changes, eventually we're probably going to see a rework for her. Anyway, she got better with the Fervor and Bladering King's buffs that were last patch, but she's still not that amazing, right? Partly AD carry as a role is pretty crap, partly it's still her though. So bigger changes are actually back though. The passive on her won't deactivate when it's on cooldown. You can stack spears if it's on cooldown. It's actually huge because it means she's so much more forgiving, and if you mess up, you're not going to get punished for it. You also get the mana back if you kill one minion. It's much easier to lane with for both of these changes, and on its own, it's probably not going to fix everything, right? But with all three of these buffs, it actually might. You have the Fervor, which is going to be much better on her, Bladering King, which is a core part of her build, especially because she builds runes, so you're stacking your 3 spears on everyone, and you're also applying percentage health damage on all 3. It might help her with all 3 of these things together. That is what I'm thinking. On its own, maybe not. Altogether, maybe. Now, these next ones, though, for Draven, have kind of flown under the radar because of the Kalista and Lucian ones, I think. Everybody's so focused on those, they haven't really talked about Draven much. His Q bonus damage has been changed to his axes. It was before 45 to 85% of your total AD as the extra damage. Now it's going to be a flat amount, so 30 to 50, plus 65 to 105% of your bonus AD. So total AD is your base from your champion plus anything you get from items, runes, and stuff like that. Bonus is just the extra from your items and runes. And if you actually hover over your AD stat in game, it has 2 numbers. The first one is base, and then there's a little plus icon, and after that is the bonus. Now this should actually be a really good buff for Draven, a champion I already think that is actually pretty decent right now. He does damage early, he can turn and impact early gank and skirmishes, which we're seeing all the time now, and he actually has a good to mid to late game as well. He's harder to learn than most AD carries, I think, but it is worth it once you put the time into it with your catching axes. That's not too on the lane phase, but in team fights it does get more difficult. I think this will actually make him a top 5 AD carry in solo queue. You snowball really hard, your passive gold generation is great, you get 1 kill and you're suddenly going to take a massive lead. Lucian is the last AD carry change. The passive second shot damage is up, basically. It scales at the moment 30 to 60% by level 16. The changes would make it 40% to start with and 60% by level 13. It means the second shot will be doing more throughout the entire game until level 16 when it evens out. It is a good start. It's going to help the crit build up more as well. The Q damage is also up 20 late game, and that change doesn't really mean that much, to be honest. 20 damage at level 9 isn't going to change very much. I've played a lot of Lucian. He's probably my most played AD carry, and he is in a weird spot at the moment. He's supposed to be an ability-based AD carry who is good early. Ability-based ADs got nerfed because the arm pen turning into lethality, so we went to the crit build, right? But that sucks because he is short range and not the best team fighter, which is what that is supposed to be designed for. He can actually team fight, but a Jinx, a Caitlyn, Twitch will do more than him with the same items, to be honest, at that point in the game. Now, Korea actually still uses arm pen build in some games. It's not the most popular, but it is still there. It still has a decent win rate, and to be honest, it might still be worth playing that at lower ranks. Crit is undeniably better later game, right? But at lower ranks, you might not really get to that point, so arm pen would help you do more early into the game and actually like impact the game and not rely on your team. I'm still testing a bunch of things, especially like Death's Dance. I'm actually testing that and seeing how good that is, but in my opinion, crit just doesn't suit him in this meta right now as the game is. So what do those things actually mean for the game though? What is it going to look like in the 7.1? This is something I want to do a bit more. It's nice knowing what the changes are going to be, but it's better knowing actually how it's going to affect the game. I still think Twitch is going to keep his throne on top. He just has way more damage in team fights than anyone else with his ultimate, the attack speed from his Q, the crits, and the range to stay away as well. Second place would be Caitlyn, most likely. You're the second best crit user, I think, with high range and your ability to stay safe. Plus traps help with objectives a lot. Jhin is still very strong early, even with the crit build, plus even better late game, really. Probably the best ability based AD carry, I think. Finally, Vayne. The nerfs hit her pretty hard. She can't one-shot as much as before, but she's still very good, especially mid to late game. It's not as face roll, but she is still good. My ones to watch out for, firstly, Misfortune. Her ultimate can do a lot of work from very far away, and she's still very good with lethality builds. The second one is Tristana. She's kind of like my pocket pick. She stays very safe with her jump and her knockback, which means she's very hard to actually camp bot lane, and you shouldn't be set too far behind, but she also takes towers with her E, and I think she uses the crit build well as well. So let's move on to the junglers. At the moment, Lee Sin is getting a nerf. He is the ultimate jungler at the moment. Nobody really counters him, to be honest, except maybe Poppy with her W, but even then, she doesn't normally jungle. Your R damage is going to be down by 50 to 150 by rank 3. It's a good start, but it's not going to kill surely. It might get him out of every single game though, which will be great. He's just too versatile at the moment, and Rush is a really good example, the Korean player. He's notoriously a very good Lee Sin, and his build changes all of the time because he can do whatever he wants depending on the game. Some games is Warrior into Ghost Babe when he wants to snowball or do damage. Sometimes Warrior Deadmans for a bit of both but more damage. Sometimes it's Cinderhulk Deadmans for pure tank. Sometimes Cinderhulk Black Cleaver for a bit of both but more tanky. The point is he does all of these really well, and that is the problem at the moment. He can build pretty much anything, any role for the game, and still do well at it. Shaco got hot fixes patch, remember, with the AP nerf, so the Q and E ratio is down, plus your R explosion damage is down by 100 to 200 at rank 3. He's still really strong though, both versions actually. AD and AP somehow is still good, and legit he is like the god tier jungler if you can play him really well. Shyvana's W won't do 20% bonus to monsters anymore, and it's targeting her farm speed more than anything else, which will hurt her a little bit early. It might mean it slows down her route to level 6 and you could invade her a little bit more maybe. It's a weird change though, because we don't actually know how much it's going to affect her really. It's the right area though. Whether you realize it or not, actually, the reason Shyvana's so strong is because no matter what you do to her early, even if you put her behind, she just power farms and gets as much gold as a solo laner. That is why it's so hard to play against. So what is it going to mean for the jungle in 7.1? Shaco for AD and AP both are really good and hard to play against, so he is going to be top tier. A good one can control the game while killing everybody. That's one of the really biggest things. He can gank and he can win other people's lanes, but he can actually carry himself and just one-shot people. Via is still really strong, and she's able to build full damage and one-shot people while having some kind of defense later, and also the courage of the Colossus Shield. Hecarim is an insane champion who builds only Trinity Force's damage, but can still 1v1 the enemy AD carry late game, and that feels bad. I mean, it feels bad playing AD carry against that, but I've been playing a lot of Hecarim recently. It actually feels really good for you, but that should not happen at all. Your farming is also really good. My first one to watch out for is Nocturne, and just to say very quickly, I'm a bit biased here because I play a lot of Nocturne. I actually really enjoy him, and he's one of my better champions. The thing is, he's a lot like Shyvana though, with a bit more burst and gank potential basically. A lot stronger than most people realize, whether you go like hardcore carry build and full AD and lethality, or Blood Razor, attack speed, and split push like a madman. Draven is my other one, a bit more underrated actually. He's pretty decent right now as a mix between tank and damage. The armor shred on your key makes him good versus tanks, and he can actually one-shot carry targets later, and he has good ganks. So moving on to the mid lane, the biggest change is for Syndra, and let's just give her some true damage. Why not, right? That seems like a good idea. So your passive won't pick up 3 balls anymore, just the 1, but instead it's going to deal 20% true damage. Your WAP ratio is down by 10%, and the base damage is down by 10, I guess, to kind of counter the true damage. Your ultimate cooldown is up 20 seconds rank 1, 10 rank 2, and it's the same rank 3 though. Now I honestly cannot still believe these changes are here. 10% AP ratio and 10 base damage does not even come close to 20% true damage. Surely this is a good buff. The R cooldown does make sense though. It was too low anyway, but 20 seconds isn't going to make her that much weaker in lane. It is kind of a long time now, 2 minutes, but you just have to make sure you use the most of it each time you use it now. So it does actually change a few things more than just the numbers. We have to remember that. Throwing 3 balls and your E was a good AoE stun, which you can't do anymore. You can't 3-ball ultimate instantly, but your R damage is going to be the same, and people are one-shotting everyone without prepping balls anyway. Now you can actually use your W on someone because that's a ton of extra damage, and then use your ultimate afterwards, and they're going to die instantly. I think Syndra actually comes back as top tier after this, to be honest. Luden's death cap, stacking full damage will be the one-shot carry way of playing her. So what is it actually going to mean for the mid lane meta? We're still going to have Ziggs really poking and pushing. Power is just so strong on that guy. Late game, you can AoE one-shot people basically with your ultimate. You have the wave clear to stall the game out, and he's just really, really strong. Lux is going to be very similar to Ziggs. Your damage is really high. You have a good team fight. You can delete people, and you even have that shield to help your team a bit more too. Ahri is the most well-rounded mid laner, kind of counter to mages, so there's no real surprise. She's still going to be top tier. And I'm actually going to include Syndra as well. I think these changes will put her back in again, even though in slightly different ways. She'll be much better as a single burst target rather than like throwing it in and having that bit of extra utility. My ones to watch out for though, firstly, Anivia. Right, I've actually said Anivia is going to get some small changes to make her feel better. Make you feel better, I guess, while playing her. Remember how you have to now wait a little while before getting the E bonus damage, or you have to stun them? That's going to be a bit shorter now, so your ultimate is going to grow faster, I think. Corki is the second one. His burst damage and his roaming is so good right now, especially with the bot lane party meta that we're in. I think he's actually flying under the radar at the moment, no pun intended. Lastly, let's move on to top lane. So Poppy's, her passive shield is going to 3 seconds from 5, and her ultimate is 50% damage now if instant and not charged. It's going to make her lane phase a lot weaker, I think, to be honest. It's been coming for a while, but this reduces her kill potential, even though I still think she's going to be a top tier tank, so we're good at that point at least. That's the only top lane change that's really worth mentioning at the moment. So it's going to mean that Nautilus is still the best tank in the game, I think, at the moment. You have the highest base damage, insane amount of crowd control, you abuse Courage of the Colossus, and you're a really good counter to carries with your ultimate in team fights. Darius is going to be the best lane champion. You have so much sustain and damage, which is really hard to outplay as well. Like, you're very simple, but you're very effective at stomping people. Yasuo is going to be the best late game. He can team fight and carry, split push and carry, and the worst part is he can actually even win his lane, which means he reaches that late game sooner and he's more dangerous. My ones to watch out for, Jarvan again actually. Black Cleaver, Titanic and Tank is really underrated top lane. You can still one-shot people, you win lane pretty hard, but you'll be a tank later for your team as well. And I really think this build is so good, but not used very much. It's a good solo queue stomp build. Swain is quite easy to play, but very hard to play against as well. He gets tanky, does a good amount of damage, and can actually carry really hard, even if his team is behind. Lastly, just to mention support, there are no changes on the PB at the moment. Redemption is still OP, just redemption and protecting everyone. That is the meta at the moment. It's very open though, you can play whatever you want. I think redemption does come out as a clear top favorite, but if you want to play Zyra or Brand or Vel'Koz, these damage champions are still good. It's just going to be swamped with like Jannas and Sorakas, Namis and Sonas. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave it a like if you did. Thank you very much for watching until the end, but for now, let's go to the robots.